It's just all about love and life and living in freedom. That's what it's all about for me now.
Welcome to the Rich Spinster podcast. This is Alexis. And today I want to talk a little bit about fear. And the reason I want to talk about fear is I have noticed since January 20th, to be exact, that there has been a lot of talk on social media and even in conversations with friends about their greatest fears. And when I think about my life and when I think about fear, I think about most of the things that I have feared have never come to pass. And the things that I have feared that have come to pass, I am still here. And that gives me hope. That brings solace in times where everything in the world seems to be stacked up against having solace. And I feel so fortunate that I have a place which is home to be grounded and to bring me back from all of those things, the thoughts of chaos that fear brings forth. I've heard people talk a lot about major fears in this past week that they have for themselves, for their family, for the country, for the world, all of these fears. And when I hear people talking about fears, what I understand is that I am not like them. Oh, I do have things that I fear, but the things that I fear are much different. They're not the things like global warming and the fall of democracy and all of that. No. Those are things that I'm concerned about, but those are actually not things that I fear. What I fear? Cats, squirrels, and owls. I do not like cats. And I know all of the cat lovers out there are saying, "What? How can you not like cats? You would love my cat." No, I would hate your cat too. When I was a child, I had a cat. Her name was Peggy. I loved Peggy. My grandmother was the principal of an elementary school at the time when I got Peggy. One of her students passed away from cancer, and her mother asked Mama if she would like the cat. She said yes. I thought it was so great having a cat. I was always obsessed with cats as a little girl. Even though we had dogs, I loved cats. I wanted cats so badly. I had cats on the covers of my folders for school, on my backpack. If there was a cat picture on something, I wanted that thing. Yes, I did have the cat trapper keeper. Because we lived out in the country, Peggy tended to roam free. She wasn't an inside cat solely. She wasn't declawed or anything. And she spent some of her happy time outside. And I guess she got really happy outside because Peggy was pregnant. I never noticed that Peggy was pregnant. I mean, I was probably in the second grade, never noticed that Peggy was pregnant until it was time for Peggy to basically give birth. And Peggy was in the garage in this little area giving birth. I was so excited. Peggy, my cat, is now a mommy. Well, one day I was waiting to go to school and I was waiting for my grandfather to back out of the garage, and I was holding Peggy in my arms. And I was just kind of staring off into space. Maybe I was thinking about what the drive to school would be like. Maybe I was thinking about what we would have for lunch that day. Maybe I was thinking about what games we would play at recess, but whatever I was doing had me so lost in those thoughts that I did not realize that Peggy was telling me that she wanted to get down. What snapped me out of my daydream was looking down and seeing Peggy hissing and clawing and biting at my hands. And seeing that look on Peggy's face, I dropped Peggy's ass to the ground and she scurried off, and I never held a cat again. From that moment, I was terrified of cats. And it wasn't something that I could get over. Having other cats didn't help the situation, I had a full on fear, and it was because of the look on Peggy's face. I was terrified of cats from that point on. I also have had other moments with cats that kind of solidified my fear. One moment is I remember I was staying the night with a cousin of mine, and I was leaving very early in the morning, and I closed the door to her apartment, and I look to the left and I see this creature. Half cat, half possum, it looked like in the face. The body was like a regular cat. I'm like, what the hell is that? It's meowing, it's looking at me, and I am afraid. In that moment, her neighbor was leaving his apartment at the same time. And I said, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you're leaving now. Can I walk downstairs with you? Because there is a cat here." And he's like, "You're afraid of cats?" I mean, yes, but that's beside the point. But I said, "No, this is not a regular cat. It's got a weird face. The face looks like a possum. The face, it's not like a regular cat face." He laughed, closed his door, said, "Sure." And I followed him, chuckling, as we walked into the direction of where the cat was. The cat had moved some. And so he didn't see him right away. And then when he saw it, he kind of made a stomping sound with his feet, and the cat ran off. And he said, "Ugh, that is a weird looking fucker." And so that let me know that was not some regular cat. I'm like, I told you that cat was mixed with something that was not right. That cat may have been possessed. I do not know, but I have never seen a cat like that. I've had other situations with cats where we have had standoffs, where I have been walking down the sidewalk, minding my own black business, and there in front of me on the sidewalk was a cat. I stopped and looked at the cat. The cat stopped and looked at me. And then we had a face off. Who was moving? Who was getting off the sidewalk and gonna walk into the grass? Fuck that. I got off the sidewalk and I let the cat have it. Wherever a cat is, I'm going to make sure I am not there. I am not a cat lady. I've had other instances of going to, I remember my friend Leah had cats and she loved her cats. And she understood that I was afraid of cats, but hey, I'm going into her home, so I have to deal with the cats, right? Leah's cats are just hopping from couch to floor to wherever. And then we had a friend come over. And this friend loved cats, and she was saying how great she is with cats, and she understands because she has a fickle acting cat too. And she starts stroking Leah's cat. And I'm looking at all the signs of danger. And the reason I know the signs of danger is because I remember Peggy. I remember the look on Peggy's face, and I could read the energy of that cat that said, "If you stroke me just one more time." And what happened? The cat started hissing and clawing at her. Again, my fear is not unfounded. So I am afraid of cats, and it's something that I'm not going to grow out of. And I just live my life knowing that cats don't have to be a part of it. I appreciate people who love their cats. I have even seen some cute cats online. In pictures, they're beautiful, and I get why some of you love them, but not me. If you have a cat at your house and you want your cat to run free at home as they should, just know I'm not coming. I am not entering the space where there is a cat. Hell, I don't even like Garfield. In fact, my friend Stephanie, now that I think about it, I went to my friend Stephanie's house one time, and Stephanie had two cats, and she loved her cats. They were wonderful, I am sure. I was excited about going to Stephanie's place to hang out, but I was not excited about the cats. But because my friend is so thoughtful and understood that I have a real, genuine fear of cats, she offered to put them in one of her bedrooms, which she did. Well, everything was fine with that until Stephanie, or perhaps it was our friend Amy, I don't remember which one, but somebody went into that bedroom and that fucking cat escaped. And it was like he was heading in my direction. I ran out of the living room. I was behind a sliding glass door feeling safe, that I had been saved from this goddamn cat that was coming in my direction. I don't know what it wanted. It maybe didn't want anything. Maybe it wanted the cheese tray that Stephanie had made for us that was sitting outside on the table. But I wasn't about to find out. I am also afraid of squirrels. And squirrels are everywhere, especially in New England. They're big, giant squirrels up here. But I became afraid of squirrels when I was in college. I attended the University of South Florida in Tampa. Nice, beautiful campus with lots of trees and benches sometimes under those trees. And one time I was waiting between classes and I thought that I would eat a snack, and that snack was a honey bun. I broke open that honey bun and I bit into its doughy, sweet deliciousness. And I was just feeling so at peace, so happy, just waiting for my class to start in an hour. I noticed squirrels kept coming closer to me, and I would shoo them away, as most people did. And there was this one squirrel. He got closer and closer, and then he decided to get his ass on my bench. Now I'm looking at this squirrel, and this squirrel is looking at me, and I'm thinking, don't fuck with my honey bun. Do not mess with my honey bun. I got 45 minutes until class starts. I want to enjoy this, and then I'm going to walk my happy ass to class, and I'm going to have a great day, and I don't want you to interfere with that day. Got it? And that's the way in which I was communicating with that squirrel telepathically. But the problem is, I'm sure the squirrel could hear me, but I could not hear it. And what happened? I'm sitting there and I'm looking around at people with a honey bun in my hand, and that squirrel jumped on my shoulder. It jumped on my shoulder, and I did the only thing that I knew to do in that moment. I hit the ground and I did stop, drop, and roll. Like you're taught to do with a fire, stop, drop, and roll. And I rolled my ass in the grass on campus screaming because of a squirrel. Now I threw that goddamn honey bun and I haven't had one since. From that moment on, I don't trust those motherfuckers, and I never will, because I trusted, and look what happened. Another thing that I am afraid of: owls. I am terrified of owls. This story, actually, I probably need some counseling for this. This happened, I want to say, about 15 years ago. I was coming home and my best friend was driving, and we were approaching a four-way stop. And I said, "What is that on the stop sign?" I said, "Oh, it's an owl," which would be the first time I had ever seen an owl in person, just in the wild like that, so close. We were at the stop sign and I was tapping on the window. "Hi, Mr. Owl. Turn around. Oh, oh. Turn around, Mr. Owl." Was very excited. There was nobody around us. My best friend was looking. We were both looking. And then the worst thing in the world happened. That owl turned only its head and stared at me, and its eyes got so big. They were so big. They were so black. It was as if that owl looked through my soul. I felt a chill. I started screaming. I started hitting my best friend. "Drive, just fucking drive." I'm screaming. I'm crying. The owl is staring, and she drives off. She's like, okay, you're beating the shit out of me. I freaked out. I'm still traumatized by that. It scarred me the entire night I thought about the owl, my nerves were wrecked. It wasn't the fact that it moved its head around and not its body, because we know that owls can do that. It was the way in which it did it. It was the fact that I saw the eyes and then the eyes got big and dark. Oh my God. It shot through me, this chill, and I have never forgotten it. I cannot look at fucking owls on Instagram. I don't like looking at owls on television. I never want to see an owl again. I live in an area that is very lush. There have been times where we have heard owls outside, and my response to that is getting the fuck inside. I am permanently scarred. I am permanently scarred by that experience. You see, I am never coming face to face with an owl if I can help it. Those are things that terrify me. And here's the funny thing, when you're afraid of something like that, people are always trying to tell you why you shouldn't be afraid, right? Oh, don't be afraid of an owl. They're beautiful. They're a sign of wisdom. Don't be afraid of squirrels. They're everywhere. They're just so cute. How can you be afraid of cats? Everybody loves a little pussy. Not me, player. Listen, not me. Fears are funny because I remember watching Maury Povich back in the day. And did y'all ever see the Maury Povich? Wait, did y'all ever see the Maury Povich shows where the people were afraid of shit like pickles, and like he'd bring a woman on stage and she would be just shaking and crying, and it's like, I'm so scared, and they're like, what you scared of? And it's like, you're gonna bring out pickles. They would come out with a jar of Vlasics, and that woman would scream and yell and cry and haul ass out of the studio because the dill pickle was following her. Yes, I'm laughing at that woman, but I feel you, sis. That's how I feel about the squirrels, owls, and the cats. She would be screaming about these damn pickles. I can't think of anything else that they brought on. I know they brought in like puppies and stuff like that, but it was the lady who was afraid of the Vlasic dill pickles from me. It's funny how we laugh at other people's fears, but we don't laugh at our own. It's all fun and game until that owl is hooting. That owl scared me so damn much, I don't even want a Tootsie Pop. I don't care how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. Give me a blow pop, somebody. That's how scarred. That's how scarred I have been. That lets you know your mind can just take off without you. I know a lot of people have fears of public speaking. I've done a lot of public speaking in my life, and so I don't have a fear of public speaking at all. What I do have a fear of, I'm a person who has to over prepare, because what terrifies me the most is being underprepared. But being underprepared is something that I've rarely experienced in life because I fear it so much. I fear it so much. I do think that that is the Virgo in me. I have experienced a trauma early in childhood that let me know I better know it backwards and forwards. I had a solo at St. Francis. I had a solo when I was a kid at St. Francis, and that solo was Amazing Grace. All I had to do was get up there and sing, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. I had practiced it, probably not enough, and I figured, well, I kind of know the song. Why would I need to practice it more at home? And my big night came. The night I had been waiting for 2 months. I was finally getting the chance to sing a solo. My parents were going to be there. My brother was there. My friends were there. Everyone was there to watch me be a second grade star. So I got up there and I was singing with my class, and then I stepped forward. Everybody looked at me. I was not nervous. I knew this is where I am supposed to be. And I sang, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Right, I hummed it. Why? Because I forgot the fucking words to Amazing Grace. That right there, y'all, that filled me with a fear about not being prepared. Listen, I have never recovered from that moment. I have always been afraid of not being prepared for something. So maybe that in some way has helped me in my life. When I've been speaking with legislators in my role as a lobbyist, I am always prepared, all because of Amazing Grace. Those are like the only things that I really fear. I don't fear the sun not rising tomorrow because I know that it will. And if by chance it does not, I know that I will be okay. I don't worry about my future in that way. And I don't worry about health or wealth or any of those things because I know who holds tomorrow. I really feel a sense of peace about those sort of things. And I don't know if it's just spiritual. I don't know if it's just the way that I am wired. I am not sure, but I don't find myself being consumed by those sort of thoughts. The thoughts that consume me are like, what if something weird happened and there was a enormous growth in the cat population? Like I think of like dumb shit like that to concern myself with. I know that those are just little things that I fear. And I know that people are in places where they're really fearing a lot. And I have no advice. I don't ever pretend to be a guru or anything like that. But I know what works for me when my mind gets away from me. I try to center myself and think about the moment and what I know in the moment. In this very moment, I am safe. In this very moment, I am alive. In this very moment, I am loved. My mind is working fully. I can breathe deeply. And in this moment, there are no cats, squirrels, or owls. I am safe. That's how I do it. Thank you for listening to the Rich Spencer podcast. I hope grace finds you this week. Please follow me on Instagram at Rich Spencer and on YouTube at Rich Spencer. And you can also listen to the podcast on Apple Podcast, iHeart, and Spotify. Have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you soon.